Good morning and welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden. I'm Jody Pollock-Newsome and I'm your host. We have a great show lined up for you this morning. This morning we're going to talk to you about ag exports. We're going to talk about the opportunities for our state. We're going to talk about markets and recognize the Ag Exporter of the Year. Stay tuned. Good morning, and again, welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden. Folks, I don't know about you, but it seems like summer is going by so fast, and it's once again, it's time to celebrate Ag Exporter of the Year. And we have a great show lined up, and I really get excited when we get to talk about the award, we get to meet the winning company, and we really get to highlight some of the positives that we have here in the state. You know, we all know economically times have been tough. A lot of folks are looking at things. Michigan's had some really hard economic times, and we don't always sit back and celebrate all the triumphs we have. So for me, the show where we recognize our Ag Exporter of the Year, we really get to celebrate. It gives you a great opportunity as consumers to learn more about Michigan agriculture and learn more about the amazing companies that we have here right in our state that are making a difference. My guests on the show this morning are certainly going to get you fired up and excited about those opportunities. My first guest is Jamie Smith-Go-Summers. Jamie is with the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, and we're going to talk overall about ag exports, and then we're going to focus on the Ag Exporter of the Year and really talk about what it takes and give you some idea a little bit more about that program. Then I also have with me this morning Al DeVore. He is with the winning company, which is Graceland. So we're going to talk a little bit with him, Graceland Fruit, what they do, how they got into exports, how things have changed in their company since the mid-90s to where they are today, what those exports mean to a company and what some of those opportunities are, and really how those exports have affected them here when we look at the in-state market and look at U.S. markets and market opportunities. And also with me this morning is Dan Arkema from Graceland Fruit, and we're going to talk about exports. He has been in the export arena for many years, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things he's learned. We're going to talk about some of those markets, and we're going to talk a little bit about where he's just got back from and where he's headed off to. So folks, it's going to be a great opportunity to learn more about our state, learn more about agriculture, certainly learn a lot more about exports, and then I will be back with a great recipe for Graceland's red, white, and blue cookies. It's going to be a great show. Stay tuned, and we will be back with our first guest right after the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week.
It's time for the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week, brought to you by the Corn Marketing Program of Michigan.
Michigan's agriculture exports in 2009 totaled $1.5 billion in food and ag products. Michigan's top export markets are Canada, Japan, Mexico, South Korea, and Taiwan. Ag exports help boost farm prices and income while also supporting over 12,000 jobs both on the farm and off the farm in food processing, storage, and transportation. For more information, go to michigan.gov.
Corn touches your life every day. With over 600 items in the store that contain corn, it's America's renewable resource. There are amazing new products made from corn, like comforters, clothes, corn stoves, dinnerware, and of course, ethanol.
Corn, America's renewable resource, powering industry, feeding America, and fueling the future.
Thanks to Michigan's corn farmers, the future is bright for innovative products made from corn. To learn more about how corn touches your life, visit our website.
And welcome back. We are back with Jamie Smith-Go-Summers, International Marketing Manager, Michigan Department of Ag and Rural Development. That is a mouthful. Welcome.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Jody. It's always a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you back, and it's so fun because, you know, I talked about it in the opening, but you guys have so much going and you're making such a positive difference.
Yeah, exports are really growing. We see, each year about 10% growth in Michigan food and ag exports. So certainly those numbers continue to grow, and the number of people employed because of exports here in the state is quite significant and continues to grow each year as well. And Governor Snyder has given us an initiative to double ag exports in 5 years, so we are working very hard to try to meet and accomplish that goal. And a lot of companies are really looking to diversify, and exports is an excellent way for them to do that. So we are moving that forward as fast as possible.
Oh yeah, when the governor says we need to do this.
Yes.
And I know you're working on a lot of activities to help. We're going to talk later about Graceland, but there's a lot of companies and everybody has to start somewhere.
Exactly. We offer a lot of different educational opportunities with export seminars. In fact, we have one coming up on June 28th in Grand Rapids, and that's going to focus on the Central American market, which has a lot of opportunities, especially with the free trade agreements that have been passed in those markets that allow a lot of our products to enter in duty-free or with very low duties. So we'll have a person from Central America in to talk about the opportunities there. We're also going to be bringing over 15 international buyers from countries all over the world, such as Russia, Asia, Mexico, Canada, Israel, Libya, into Michigan for Michigan food processors, companies, producers to meet with one-on-one. And that's going to be in Grand Rapids on July 24th. So a lot of opportunities for companies here and producers here in Michigan to be able to learn more about exports and export markets, as well as meet one-on-one with buyers. And they're both very cost-effective, low cost, $50 for the seminar, up $150 to meet with those international buyers. So we're definitely doing all we can to get our Michigan companies and producers in touch with these international markets and international buyers.
Well, and that's so important, and I know we're going to hear more later, especially as you're looking at Ag Exporter of the Year, looking at all those opportunities. I mean, we have lots of companies that are exporting, and you just need to work through the process and have the patience, because like you say, it certainly does pay off.
Yeah, it certainly does. A lot of companies are scared to look at exporting, but there's certainly, all different ways, and there's so many service providers out there that can help companies if they don't want to take on all of the additional paperwork and everything in-house. There's so many different organizations and service providers out there that can help companies really effectively export. And even someone as close as Canada, a lot of companies don't think of that necessarily as an export market, but it is, and there's a lot of opportunity there. We export about 60% of our food and ag products from Michigan go into Canada. So it's a very close neighbor and great market.
We want to keep them close, just like that.
Yes.
Send them that stuff over the border.
Yes.
Well, and Jamie, let's talk a little bit too about Ag Export of the Year award. It hasn't been around that long, but it's really recognized some amazing companies.
It has. We have been doing this for probably about 5 years now, and each year it's another fantastic company that wins this award. Some of our previous winners have been Cherry Central, Zealand Farm Services, Walter's Gardens, Cooperative Elevator, so really covering a broad base of products from companies that are around the state. And this award is a self-nomination by the company. They submit an application, and we have a review panel that looks at those applications and then makes a recommendation to the director, Keith Cray, for approval. And then the director and the governor were pleased to award the 2011 Ag Exporter of the Year to Graceland Fruit this year.
Very exciting.
Yes.
And especially when we look at, some of the diversity of that ag. You mentioned some of those award winners. It's great to see that diversity and to know what those opportunities are for our companies.
Exactly. And what the review committee really looks at when they're selecting this company is a company that really has exports as part of their overall strategic plan for their company, where everyone from the CEO or president down to the people in the production facility are all supportive and part of moving exports forward for that company. So we're looking for those companies that really embrace it and feel that it's an important part of their business and their strategy.
Well, and Jamie, if there are folks out there that say, boy, I'm interested, we mentioned it's kind of scary.
Yep.
What do we do? How do we get started?
Certainly, get in touch with me. There's so many resources out there offered by, everyone from the Van Andel Global Trade Center in Grand Rapids to the Michigan State University's International Business Center to food export that we work very closely with out of Chicago. So there's so many resources out there that are available. There's funding available. There's export seminars and online training that's offered all the time. So certainly there's a wealth of help and information out there, so companies should certainly contact us and we can put them in touch with some of these other organizations as well.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that's so amazing as you get into this. And as much as you've done the show, I always learn more. But there are so many resources. And even when there's no money, there is some money to be able to help people do some things, you know, some packaging or some learning or whatever. I just think it's important to know you're not alone financially or with the skills of what you need to do.
Right, exactly. Even if it's, you know, finding a banker or a freight forwarder, there's programs that, you know, for certain eligible companies can receive reimbursement for some of their costs of, you know, to change a packaging on their label to meet a country's requirements. So if it's needing to have French or Spanish on it, that program can help reimburse those costs for that. So, you know, we're certainly helping companies in all those aspects. If they need help on, you know, where do I get a certificate of free sale or a phytosanitary certificate, we can help, you know, put them in contact with the right agency or the right person that can help issue those certificates, or, you know, the right bank or the right freight forwarder. So they're certainly not alone if they are, you know, willing to take on export as part of their business strategy.
Great. Well, Jamie, thank you.
Thank you.
We always appreciate it.
Yes.
And thank you so much for bringing Graceland fruit to us today. And we will keep up to date on what's going on with exports. Folks, certainly important to know when we look at the economy. We know agriculture is certainly important to our state, and exports play a major role in that economy as well. Stay tuned, and we will be right back. And we are going to talk to the Ag Exporter of the Year.
The Cherry Marketing Institute wants you to know about tart cherries. Cherry's red color comes from powerful antioxidants. Available year-round, it's easy to incorporate cherries into your daily diet. Visit choosecherries.com.
Michigan's 1,000 apple growers take pride in producing delicious apples from one generation to the next. From the Great Lakes come great flavors. Look for locally grown Michigan apples.
Have Jody speak at your next agricultural event. Go to jodylive.com.
Cool. Get him. And welcome back. We're back with Al DeVore, President, CEO, Graceland Fruit, Ag Exporter of the Year. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
It's great to have you here, and you can tell I get fired up over the exports and the opportunities, and so I'm going to have you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Graceland.
All right. Just a little bit of the background. I came to Graceland as part of a turnaround and worked in the operational area of the Graceland Fruit Company. Saw a tremendous company, a lot of potential, and stayed on, and very pleased to have been able to do that. So.
Well, and it's certainly, when we think of Graceland, a long history here in Michigan. I'm going to have you tell us a little bit about the company.
Graceland's going to celebrate its 40th year next year, 2013. It was founded in 1973. It was founded as a cherry cooperative originally, so our heritage is very tied into the cherry industry in northwest Michigan, which I think everybody knows is going to have a tough year this year.
Yeah.
So say a prayer for our cherry growers, and let's make sure that industry is strong and vibrant and comes back healthy next year. We've been around, we've evolved quite a bit. We got into drying fruit in about the 80s. And the reason why is, if you think of the cherry industry, the harvest would take place over about a 2-week period. You'd freeze the fruit, and then you could use it later for pie filling, but access to the nutrients in the cherry were really limited to those two avenues, and so in drying, you don't lose that nutritional benefit, and now you can have up to a 2-year shelf life, so you can come back and eat the cherries for 2 years and still get the benefit from them. So the drying process was developed by Graceland for cherries, and then evolved into cranberries and blueberries. Historically, if you think about it, the only fruits that were dried, and this is through antiquity, were raisins, figs, dates, because they're very, very high in natural sugar. A tart cherry or a cranberry or a blueberry doesn't have that natural sugar in it, so you need an infusion process because the sugar acts as a very natural preservative. It binds up the free moisture, and then you have the 2-year shelf life if you store it properly. And so that process was developed through a lot of hard work of my predecessors within the Graceland family, and we're very proud to take that heritage and start to market it on a global basis.
Well, and that's exciting because I know now so many different companies do the drying, the dried fruits, and I didn't realize that went back to Graceland. So see, I learned something doing the show every time too.
Well, there's kind of a cute story. Apparently, some cherries got spilled in the freezer. Obviously, they're not food quality any longer. So Don Nugent, who was our founder, took them and began in the R&D lab to try and figure out another use for them. And he dried them, and it worked out perfect. So here we sit.
There you go. Yeah. Well, and I know too, when we look at Graceland, you know, you guys have had some changes, and I know, I think you said earlier, back to '95, exports really weren't something the company was really thinking that much about.
We didn't export a drop of product out of the United States prior to '95, and then '95, you know, it became obvious that if we're going to grow, we need to tap into new markets, and the export market was an obvious market, a daunting market to be sure. But it's something that was too tempting not to go after. And so the company made a concerted effort to start, and baby steps at first, and pretty good success relative to where we're at. And then we've just made it a priority ever since. And last year, we grew our exports, as amazing as it might sound for a company that had been doing as long. We grew 40% last year in the export market.
Wow.
And the export sales now account for about 42% of our total revenue. So we're very heavily dependent now on the export market.
Well, and I think that's so amazing. And, you know, for consumers at home, we hear, oh, global economy, we're doing business overseas. I don't think they realize, you know, 42% of your business is huge when you're looking at those overseas markets.
Absolutely. It brings a lot of hard currency back into the state as opposed to just moving currency around within the state. So there's a big benefit to everybody when we can do that.
Well, and when you look at some of those markets, I mean, as you start to get into those overseas markets, are those pretty demanding markets, pretty rigid?
Absolutely. Specifically, the company focused primarily on Japan initially. Well, Japan's probably the most discerning marketplace for food in the world. And you're talking about very high standards, you're talking about very discerning customers, and the reality is it's made us a much better company from the standpoint that if you can satisfy that marketplace, you have a pretty good chance of satisfying just about anywhere else you want to ship your product to.
Well, and I know you guys have been involved in too, and I know Governor Snyder did a trip to Asia, and Graceland Fruit was right along on that trip. We were.
That was last September. The governor and his team visited 3 countries. They visited Japan, China, and Korea in a 6-day period. It was a brutal schedule for them, trust me. There was no boondoggle on that trip. That was all business. They started at 7 in the morning and stayed at it till about 11 o'clock at night every single day. And they started the Sunday when they arrived, and they didn't stop till the Saturday the next week, or the next Saturday when they left. So it was a brutal trip. We were with them on the front end in Japan, and we were on the back end in Korea. We didn't do the Chinese trip on that one.
Well, a great opportunity is, and I want to make sure we get to show the award because it's absolutely beautiful. And as we look at, you know, Graceland, what does something like this mean to you guys and the company?
Well, it's huge. We're a very lean organization. We've got 180 people in Benzie County that work for the company. We have 2 plants, and I can't name you a single person that didn't directly contribute to that and didn't directly deserve to receive it. So we're very, very proud of that.
And what do you guys see for the future?
Well, we see more. We see growth opportunities. We haven't fully tapped into some of the largest markets out there, China or India, and so there's more opportunity. Actually, I think there was an old Pogo Possum cartoon that says we are faced with insurmountable opportunity. That may be right where we're at right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and please tell the folks at Graceland we appreciate what they do, and it's so exciting to have you here and talk about the way that the company's transformed and look at exports. So thank you so much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Folks, just a little bit more when we think about agriculture, and you certainly think about those companies on the cutting edge, make sure you look at Graceland. We will put up their website, and you can go and learn more about Graceland Fruit. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
And welcome back. We are back with Dan Arkema of Graceland Fruit, International Sales Manager. Dan, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
It's great to have you here. I'm going to have you tell us about yourself because you have a long history in exports.
Yes, about a 37-year history in international food business. And I've lived abroad as well. Japan was my largest overseas post, but also Taiwan, Germany, and the Philippines.
Wow.
And my hobbies sort of tie in with my business. I love foreign languages, so.
How many languages do you speak?
I would say 3 fluently, and then I've studied about another 4.
Wow. If I ever travel, I want to go with you.
Yeah, it's fun. It just, all it does is it helps you connect with your customers better, and it just makes it much more enjoyable experience.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about that, because if you're a company and you don't have that experience, I mean, exporting sounds like a scary kind of business to get into because you just don't know.
Yes, as Sal said, in '95 when I joined the company, they hadn't exported 1 box. And I just simply said, let's go to Japan, because Japan, plus if it was the market I knew better, but let's go to Japan because that will make you better. And besides, let's say, Canada or so, most food companies should have Japan as their second largest market. And this was back in the 90s when Japan was still a leader in terms of, but now we have so many other highly demanding markets. The EU, for example, Korea has exceeded Japan some of their demands. Wow. And then Australia as well. So all these markets are really, really demanding, and in many cases much more demanding than the U.S. domestic market.
Well, and are they looking for like the health benefits? Are they looking for the food on the go, the baking, a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything, and I was also fortunate to have a consumer products background, so that we're largely business to business. So, but it's exciting because you can get into everybody's business, but when they talk about marketing and how they're trying to position a product, it's great to know what they're talking about, what they want to do, and to be able to make suggestions, and that's worked out very well.
Well, and as you kind of look at that, I mean, I know we talked about the great growth. Look at those market opportunities. What are some of the things that you're seeing that are certainly exciting?
Well, in Asia, for example, people really talk. They almost eat by prescription. They'll say, "Oh, have some blueberries. That's good for your eyes." This is kind of the rattle that goes on in a restaurant when you're guests at somebody's house. Have some cranberries. They're good for your digestion or good for your urinary tract or whatever. And some of the yuck factors that we talk about, but we don't want to talk about urinary tract infection. but the Asians, they don't care about that.
Huh.
That's all part of it. And of course, then the Germans are also very, very strict. And one of the things, we sell to 42 different countries.
Wow.
And we're going to introduce a few more this year.
Wow.
Now, the other thing is that's a diversity factor. Last year, Europe is what helped us get this award. But look at Europe's a basket case this year. So, but Asia, we've been keeping Asia going. I mean, we're in South Africa. We're in all these great countries, Turkey, all these. So it's renewal too, because markets fall away. They come back again. The new ones emerge. So you have to stay on top of this. A good example is Taiwan. Who knows that Taiwan is one of the highest per capita cranberry consumption countries in the world?
Huh.
And the other one is Israel.
Wow.
So to know these and then to go after them is really important.
Well, yeah, and I would think that, what's the way? And it sounds like, we talk about health benefits here, but it sounds like other folks, other countries are much more aware.
In many ways, they are, and they're listening. They're listening to those health benefits, and we sell health. We sell health. We sell taste. We sell exciting color, and then you can position that toward the consumer, and you can position it towards your industrial customer. So, and one of the reasons we got this award this year is because we got some very, very good advice from a Chinese strategist that we were working with, who said, you have a whole cranberry. And a whole cranberry, you don't see that much in the U.S., but you see it more abroad. You have a whole cranberry, but it can be better. And so what we did is a total reformulation and a relaunch. We got advice from Germany, from Israel, from Taiwan, and from China, and made that product according to what they wanted. And it blew away our numbers.
Wow.
We grew the German market by 300%, and that was only within 6 months. So on an annual basis, we grew the market by 300%.
Wow.
And we did that all in the last 6 months of the calendar year. So it was really exciting.
Well, and time always goes so fast, but to me this is just amazing because we hear all the bad news, and there's so much good news, like what you guys are doing in the markets that you're growing. What do you see for the future?
We see a lot of the same. We see a growth in markets that what we've actually proven to be very, very beneficial. And I have to say that as we open one free trade market after another, it's going to be really helpful. Korea is the best example. The Koreans, with their demand and for quality and for health, from our standpoint, they've almost caught up to Japan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thank you. I have learned so much. It was a pleasure to have you and Al here and talk about the company. And congratulations on the Ag Exporter of the Year.
Thank you very much.
Awesome award.
I'll put in one more plug for free trade.
Okay.
Free trade. It really helps companies that are exporting.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, certainly when we hear more about agriculture, remember trade. And you heard it right here from Dan. Free trade, free trade, free trade. We'll be back right after this message. Hi, I'm Jody. Corn is America's renewable resource. It can be used to fuel your vehicle and heat your home. Corn is grown in abundance in the state of Michigan, and it is a great alternative to foreign oil when it comes to heating your home. In fact, you can install a corn heater, furnace, or boiler in your own home. These work much the same as conventional furnaces, but they use Michigan-grown corn. By using corn to heat our homes, we're creating a more secure future for everyone. Select Michigan. It's good for you, the grower, and the economy. And welcome back. Folks, what an exciting morning. Not only did we talk about the opportunities for exports, we talked about an amazing ag exporting company. Now I'm going to share with you a recipe that you can use your blueberries, your cherries, and your cranberries. Very, very easy, and especially this time of year when you're out and about, always looking for some munchies. These are Graceland's red, white, and blue cookies. Basically, you're going to go ahead, make your cookie, mix together your ingredients. You're going to put those on your baking sheet. Then you'll go ahead and bake those at 350 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. Super easy and absolutely delicious. I went with all three, cherries, blueberries, and cranberries. You can pick what you like the best, or you can add them all in. If you'd like this recipe, you can visit us online at MichiganFarmandGarden.com. I will also link you to Graceland Fruit so you can go there, learn more about the company, and learn how to get the products in your home. Otherwise, folks, you have an absolutely wonderful week, and we will be back here next weekend on Michigan Farm and Garden to share with you some more recipes and some more information about Michigan agriculture. Bye-bye.